Hi guys, just getting settled in here. I will be going live in about 15 minutes. So let me see if I can get anything on there. Now, if you are hanging out, make sure you let me know that you're here. And we'll get this party started at 6:15 tonight. So, go get a drink. And make sure you got all your stuff. Hi, Nancy. Waterville, is that me? What's M-E? Oh, I feel so dumb right now. I don't think it's Maine because there's no E in Maine. No. Minneapolis. What's me? Oh, not Michigan. No, I'm going through all the M states in my very primeval face here. What's M-E? Okay, guys. If you're just tuning in and you didn't hear how dumb I am, please let me know if you're here and say hi, and let me know if you're painting here tonight. Where are you? Oh, it is Maine. I knew it. Well, I'm so happy you're here, Nancy. Thank you so much for showing up. How exciting. Painting's my favorite. And this is a nice fall painting. I guess it's been a long day because I'm having a really hard time talking right now. Yeah. I'm excited to do this old fall barn with you guys. This is so good. So I can see there's people popping in and you're not saying hi. So make sure you get down in those comments and say hello, friends. Please. I need to know you're here. Makes things way better when everybody is letting me know their name. Where everybody knows your name. Linda is from Kingsville, don't you know? You want to be where people be. People are all the same. Nancy Haig is from Maine, yeah. Hey, Heather. Thanks guys. Thank you for saying hello. We're here for like a long 15 minutes before we start, so it's really great to converse with some people. I started working on my first round of winter paintings here. Hi, Denise. And I'm pretty excited. Somebody gave me an idea with like a little raccoon in a little hole. Hi, Rosalie from New Mexico. That's so cool. Oh, what? You had my trigger thumb surgery 5 days ago. Trigger thumb. It's the first I've heard that. I hope you're okay. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Barb. Yay. It's so great to have friends in the house. Now, I'm assuming that means that it's your proper hand, Rosalie. So that would be difficult. It's going to be a little bit hard to paint. Yay, Michelle's here. Hi, Michelle. Anyways, I was saying that I was starting to paint some winter paintings today. So I started this little raccoonie in a little hole. And he's pretty cute. I don't know if I'm ready to share him yet, though. I think he still needs a little bit of work. And I don't know if you guys are still feeling pumpkin-y, but you can totally join us on Friday for our fall pumpkin painting. I got that hanging out right here. Hold on a second. Let me just grab it. It's a big one. So we're doing it on a black canvas. This is the painting we're doing on Friday. So if that's something you're interested in, this is going to be a paid event. And you just have to go to my events page and all that information's on there. But it's fun. I like painting on black canvases. It's cool. And I'm also excited to paint winter paintings. Oh, Julie Bergeron. Hi, Julie. That was a little hard to say, but bonjour. I always like getting the opportunity to speak French when I can. Sweet. Oh, I'm glad you guys like it. So yeah, basically twice a month we have proper paid parties, and those are for my membership people, but you can join in for 15 bucks. And it's only $20 to join my membership, which you get access to all of the parties that month and all of my archive parties. And then if you're not into the monthly payment thing, you can just join the party for 15 bucks. So, oh, yay! Token Jim's here from New Brunswick. How's it going over there, Jim? And Marlene, yes, this will be up on my YouTube channel. As soon as it gets loaded, however slow or quick my internet is, that's what I base it on. Oh, that's cool. I appreciate your stamina, Rosalie. She says, my thumb is a little stiff, but I can't resist. Perfect. Oh, thanks, Julie. Are you guys still in Victoria? Keep me posted. We can't wait to get back out west again. Obviously, we're not going this year for obvious reasons, but hopefully next summer we can come visit. No problem, Marlene. Thanks for popping in. Let's see, what time is it? Quelle heure est-il? All right, cool. So we got some people from the East Coast tonight. We got some Maine inhabitants and Token Gyms in New Brunswick, which is crazy. It's got to be getting cold there. Are you spending the whole winter there, Jim? Oh, yay. Deb's here too. Nice. Pumpkin pie always gets me in the mood. But did it have whipped cream? That's the question. Whipped cream is all over the pumpkin pie. Yeah, fair enough. Are you getting back to Windsor anytime soon? Or are you driving or flying, or how's that working? Okay. All right. We still have about 10 minutes left. Yeah, it's been super duper nice here, I have to say. I was just ranting and raving. We went for an October swim in the lake the other night, and it was so magical and cold, but amazing. And I highly suggest everybody, if you get the chance, jump in some cold water, because man, that makes you feel alive. Fair enough, Deb, that makes sense. It does. Pumpkin pie. I think I only started liking pumpkin pie when I was 33. I finally gave it an extra shot. Oh, and Jim's flying back next week. That's really great. Isn't it so cool that you still get to paint when you're across the country, though? It's pretty awesome. I'm really glad you're here. So good. Trying to think of other things that have happened this week. 15 minutes is a long time to fill up, hey? Okay, so well, let's see what we can get through in the announcement section. We got, okay, we have the paid party on Friday, but we're doing a kids party on Monday. We're gonna paint a cute spider together on Monday afternoon, so get your kiddos or your grandkiddos out. Oh, that's cool. Nicola had her baby on September 22nd. That's amazing. Yay. I'll send her a message. That's so exciting. Oh, babies. Is it her first baby or does she have other kids, Michelle? Let me know. Okay, so we have a party on Monday with the kids, and then we're doing another free pumpkin party on Thursday, and that's going to be the last pumpkin of the season. I was hoping to get the pumpkins done a little earlier, but my plans got switched out. This past weekend, I actually had a wedding to go to, and it was one of those weddings that were like, it was on, then it was off, then it was on, then it was off, and I thought for sure it was off, so then I booked a party, but then it was back on again, so then we had to shift everything around again. Oh, that's so exciting. It's our first. You know, I'm thinking like, I'm like halfway through an announcement and then I read something and like everything changes. I'm sure I'm all over the place. So guys, if you're popping in and you're sticking around and you want to say hi, please say hi. Let me know you're here and where you're from. It just makes everything so much better. Our party's getting started in, what time is it? 4 minutes, okay? The official start time is 4 minutes from now. So I'm just going through my few announcements that we have some free parties next week, and then we're going to take a little time off. I'm going to get all of our winter paintings all set up, and I'm really excited about that. And yeah, it's good. But if you're just sitting around chilling, make sure you have your plate for your, for your paints and your brushes. We are only going to be using 2 brushes tonight. So I have my big Fatty McFadderson brush and my long skinny brush. If you guys need any information, please let me know about our party. I think I got it all in, but you know, sometimes I miss stuff. Oh, Cheryl's here from Ancaster. That's cool. Welcome, Cheryl. Yay, I'm glad you're here. And then I don't know if you guys saw the chicken that we're painting this month. I'm really excited about it. I might be the only one. So my idea is that maybe we could like make it into a Christmas chicken somehow. Maybe it could be or maybe it's a rooster. I'm actually not sure. I think you can make it both if you want. It could be a chicken or a rooster, but you could totally add snow or maybe like a little Santa hat to it. I'm really very excited to do that one. I've never really painted anything like it before. You just like asked my husband. He heard me laugh the whole time I was painting it. I like went in the next room. I'm like, oh my God, Jay, look, it's a chicken. And it just, I love it so much. So I hope you guys are on the board on the chicken train with me. And okay, I think that's, what time is it here? Enough about that. All right. Well, I think maybe we have our main people here already, so I'm just gonna get my hair tied back. I feel, when I start talking to myself, I get all hot. All right, guys, so what's gonna happen in this painting is we're gonna do the sky, and the sky is like a lot of white and like a little bit of turquoise. So it looks a little blue from here, but it's actually turquoise. But if you don't have turquoise, you can totally use light blue. I'm using like a deep turquoise for that. And then as we move down, I don't use this color very often, but it's called leaf green. Now, if you don't have leaf green, that is also okay. Let's just like maybe add a little white to a dark green, or a little white and yellow to a dark green would probably make a little bit more of a leafy, limey green that we are going to be using in this. And yeah, this is a really fun painting. So I hope there's a few kids here too. I've had a bunch of kids do this painting with me before. So that's great. And I think maybe we'll just get this party started. So if you haven't said hi and you're just tuning in, please say hello. I do have my eye on the chat while we're painting, even though you don't see me the whole time. You just kind of see my canvas, which you'll see in 1 second. I just want to say I have been getting a few requests for how people can get me tips again and all that stuff. So I did include the information if you feel like you want to shoot me a little cash for the party. Instead of me having to private message people, I just have all the information on the party now. So it's in the comments and in the actual description of the party. And then, oh yay, Susan's here. Cool. Hey Susan. Yay. And then I just want to remind everybody, I'm starting to get booked up for Christmas. So we're still social distancing this whole family stuff and Christmas is going to be kind of a little bit trying. So I'm just throwing it out there. If doing a private paint party virtually with your family might be something to think about, definitely get on it fast because my calendar is booking up over the next couple months. So keep that in mind. And then also keep in mind, if you're looking for like a really good Christmas present, my membership is going to be open until the end of December. So that is also, you could give somebody the gift of painting all year long, which is pretty rad for somebody who likes to paint anyways. Maybe not for everybody, but somebody who's like an artist, that's totally something that you could think about as well. We're still in October, so there's still lots of time, but I'm just planting the seeds, friends. Planting the seeds. Okay, now let's get this party started. So, anybody who's never met me before, hi, I'm Julie. And I love to paint, and painting is my favoriteest thing in the whole world. And I'm just gonna set my camera up just like this, and I'm gonna straighten it out a little bit as well. I often make funny noises while I'm painting, so feel free to make your own funny noises while we're doing this. I think, I don't know why. Try and get this a little bit more straightened out here. Oh, I know what's up. There we go. Okie dokie, friends. Now, the first two colors we're going to use in the background here, like I said, is going to be a lot of white and a little bit of turquoise. And I have this deep turquoise here. So I'm just putting a tiny smidgen, super tiny smidgen of turquoise and a pretty decent amount of white. And I'll show you what my palette looks like, okay? So this is what I got going on my palette at first. I have a nice big glob of white and a tiny little bit of turquoise. And then we're going to, you know what, since we're there already, I'm just going to put a little bit of lime green on there too. All right. And what are you guys saying? Oh, yay, Susan ate her supper. That's awesome. And yay. Hi, Hannah from Wisconsin. I'm stoked you're here, friend. Okay, so let's get this started. Now, whenever we're going to do the sky, we often just add colors in and we don't really care what our brush is doing. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm going to start with a big old scoop of white where it like kind of globs. You don't want to drip it everywhere, so I kind of tap it until it stops dripping. I'm going to start my canvas with a little bit of white, and then I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of turquoise, just that little corner, and I'm going to start mixing it in. And I'm going back and forth, up and down, side to side. It's like a swooshing, swoosh, 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 swoosh. Tiny little corner of turquoise, and I mix that in. So it's just this really, really nice light turquoise sky. And it actually looks mostly white, but we get this beautiful little hue of turquoise in there. Just a little bit at a time. You could even use a little bit of water on your brush if you'd like. Water really helps. So I just dip my cup or my brush in the water, and I'm just going to give it a little tap on my palette first, let loose some of that water that's on there, and just continue to add on my colors. So lots of white and a little bit of turquoise. And I'm going to bring this down probably 2/3 of the canvas here. Oh, that was close. I just globbed big time. Check out glop. Oh, got some down here too. All right. So I'm just wisping my brush back and forth, just kind of like in a swooping motion. There's no rules for this. You don't have to do it in swooping motion. You could even do it in a more, if you're feeling a little more meticulous. You could go back and forth. And I'm just going to apologize in advance. I have a tiny little cold, and I'm going to probably sneeze a couple times. So don't be alarmed too much. If I let out a sneeze, I'll try and let you know beforehand if it comes out, okay? I sneezed like 80 times before the party started, so I'm expecting more. Okay. All right, so you just, whisk that sky there. And it's actually more like half, isn't it? It's a little bit more than a third of the canvas. And you know what? I'm just going to take it down. I'm going to take it down a little bit further over on this side, but not too far, just a little bit here. Okay. So, there we are. We have our background. We have our beautiful, wispy, light, turquoisey, bluey sky, totally filling up the canvas. And I'm going to give my brush a really good rinse. And then I'm going to dry it off on my napkin. Now we're actually going to fill up the rest of the canvas with, it's going to be like a mixture of white and green and a little bit of brown as well. So if you want to go ahead and put a little bit of brown on your palette too, this is what I got going on here. Little chunks. So I use such a little amount of turquoise, and that's how much I have left. There's tons left there. So we're going to use this leafy green and a little bit of brown, and we just want to get a base coat on our whole canvas here, okay? We're going to keep it really, really light, and try not to glob it on too much. Even using a little bit of water is going to be okay. And I'm just going to start to fill this all in here. So fill it in with green. Up here, I'm going to keep it a little bit more wispy. But as I move down, I really just want to fill it in just so that I have a nice prime coat on my canvas. So try not to think about it too much. We're just going to fill this in. It's probably going to look really, really ugly to start, to be honest. And then I'm going to start to add in a little bit of brown as well. So it's going to be extra super ugly. It's going to be like this gicky lime green brown color. And I'm really just moving around my paint just so that I have a bottom coat before I start layering some other elements on my canvas. And I'm going to fill up this whole bottom area. And all this is covered up, so don't worry about it right now. Just moving it around. And you can see my brush, I'm kind of like shaking it into those little canvas holes. Just to start filling them in. And I'm going to concentrate a little extra brown down in this corner here. Get this all nice and filled in. All right. And then I'm just going to take my brush and move that all around. And voila. We got our first base coat of paint on there. Rosalie, there's a really good chance that I'm in reverse. Yes. So this is a mirror. Yeah, because this is my right hand. And to be honest, with this painting, it really doesn't matter. So just paint what you're seeing with me. Our barns might end up being on the other side of each other, but that's okay. Don't worry about it too much, all right? Just get that all filled up. I really worked my arm muscles on this one. So if you're feeling a little pain in your bicep, that's fine. Because it just means you're doing a great job. Oh, that's okay, Brittany. If you're late, that's okay. I'm pretty sure you could catch up. it really, like, the background that we've done so far only takes a minute. So if you have your supplies there, just, this background is mostly white and turquoise. So I make little swooping motions. It's like big scoops of white with little corners of turquoise up at the top. And then we started to add a little bit of leaf green in here, and then we mixed leaf green and brown and just pushed it around just to get a base coat down here so that we have it like a primer on our canvas. And if you can't stay, that's fine too, I guess. Everything's pretty straightforward in this painting. So once you guys have that background on, please give me a thumbs up and we can start our next step. Let me see some thumbs up-ins. Who's got the thumbs up? I got the thumbs up. And the question is, oh, that's going the wrong way. Oh, there we go. How geeky is your painting is the question. Oh, cool. I see some thumbs up. Perfect. Okay. All right. So right in the background up here, we have some pseudo trees. So you'll see here, they end up getting covered up, but it's kind of nice. It kind of looks like there's a bit of tree landscape coming from the background back there. So what I'm going to do is, it's probably, let's say a quarter of the way down. Oh, this canvas is a little wonky. Crazy. There's a little curve in my canvas and I just noticed. So I'm going to take my big old brush and I'm going to load it with some green back and forth. I'm going to sharpen it up. And one little stroke at a time. You can even put a dab of water in there, just to loosen it up a little bit. And one stroke at a time, I'm going to put my brush straight on the canvas and I'm just going to start to pull up. And my bristles are straight on the canvas, so when I push and I pull up, they should shoot up and they should try to separate them a little bit. And then you're going to get a line at the bottom, so you can kind of just take your brush and kind of swoop it out there. So now try and be sporadic about it. You don't have to have one fine, exact line, tree line going on. And this is going to go pretty much just past halfway. So this all ends up being trees here too. So, like I said, brush straight on the canvas and just pull up. Ta-da! I mean, you could bring it all the way across, but that's not necessary because we're going to put a big old barn there. And you can see I have like a little wiggle in my trees. They're not like super straight. There's some dips and valleys and peaks. Some peaks and valleys, I should say. And yeah, just make your treescape the way you want to. All right. Sounds like my daughter's home from Grandma's house. Okay. So once that's on there, just give your brush a little bit of a rinse and start to add a little bit of yellow to your palette. So I'm going to just put a little dabble of yellow on there. Heather, you're so funny. Honestly, never trust me again for lettering in reverse. Oh, it's really funny. Okay. I am Just give me one sec here, guys. Okay. All right, so in this area here, we are going to add a little bit of brown, and it's gonna everything in the background of this painting doesn't look very nice, okay? So I'm gonna grab a little bit of brown, and I'm just gonna make a little area of brown here, okay? And it's gonna just be a little bit darker. You can even mix a little yellow and brown together. And in the background, this is just gonna look like there's more layers coming forward. So it's just kind of swooping it back and forth. We're making a big brown spot, and this is gonna like kind of look like a big bush in the background after we're done, but it's all getting covered up too, so it's really random, but it definitely makes a difference in the perspective of the painting. So, just a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow, and you can bring that all the way down to the bottom down here if you want. A little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow. You're like, what is this chick doing? Well, let me tell you, if you like to scribble, this background is perfect. Perfect. Sorry, I got a little distracted there for a second. Everybody came in the house screaming, so my brain's like, what am I listening to? Okay. So this in the background is going to look like some weird bush, but obviously it doesn't look like that right now. And when you guys are done this big brown globby area, just let me know and we can start to put our barn on. Just give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Man, that's some solid painting right there, let me tell you. Trying to just take a look here. So if you look at the original, you can see in the background here we had our green trees, and then there's like this big blob of browny stuff behind there. So that's all getting covered up eventually, just to keep you posted. Once you have that on, guys, just give me a little click of the thumb, and we'll get putting our barn on there. Just make sure you have enough brown on your palette to put the barn on. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So give your brush a good rinse. Give it a good dry on your napkin. And we are gonna put the whole barn on in brown to start. Manure pile, yes. That actually makes perfect sense. I remember I took horseback riding lessons when I was a kid, and like, I'll never forget the size of that manure pile, let me tell you. I'm picking that up, Heather, that you guys know each other. I'm really happy. That's nice. I like seeing your conversations. So, we'll just like leave the manure pile there to dry, and then we'll put our barn on, and then we can start to cover it up with some trees after, okay? If anybody showed up late and you're just watching, or you're just, let me know you're here. Keep me posted, friends. Now, like I said, we're going to put the whole barn on in just brown to start. So, oh, you caught up? Nice. Brittany, you're killing it, y'all. Oh, your sisters. Oh, Heather and Susan are sisters. That's awesome. Well, thanks for being here, guys. You guys are awesome. All right. So I have rinsed my big brush, and I just like to give it a little sharpen. So I take my fingers and I pinch it just to get it nice and ready for a good barn pulling party, or whatever they call it. Those parties where they build the barns. Barn building? I don't know. Just like really on the ball today. Okay. So the tippy top of our barn is going to be in alignment basically with the tops of our trees here. So if your trees are way the heck up here, maybe let's say about 4 inches from the top, that's where our barn is going to live. Our roof is going to start here and it's going to pull off the side of our canvas. And then we're going to have the full side of the barn roof over here. The barn roof goes a little, just a little past halfway of your canvas. Now, I've done this a bunch of times, so it's okay whatever size barn you end up having. Please don't fret if it's not the exact same. I've seen some really cool, tall, skinny barns, and then I've seen some really cool, short, fat barns. So you guys are so funny. I love it. Okay, so right in alignment with the trees, I'm going to start the tippy top of my roof, and it's going to come down and off the side of the canvas. And you can see here, I've pulled my brush back and forth in my paint just to sharpen it a little bit. Sharpen, sharpen, sharpen. It's got a nice flat edge on my brush so that when I start up here, I can just shoot one way. And then, let me see here. And then it's going to come down that way. Pretty simple stuff. So I gave it a roof, and then that's going to be my barn. Now, from this point, if you think it's too skinny, you can always make it a little bigger. You can pull your roof down a little further. You can make your wall a little further. That's always an option in this part of the painting. If you don't like where it is, you can always swoop that brown really quick back and forth just to mix it in with your manure pile over here, and then shorten it up a little bit. Okay? And then from this point, I'm going to just fill this whole thing in. So I'm grabbing scoops of brown and I'm going up and down. We want to do this in an up and down motion. We want nice, long barn board strokes, okay? So normally I'm either shooting my brush up from the bottom like this, shoop, shoop, shoop. And then when I get to the top, I still want those up and down strokes, but it can get a little bit tricky. So what I like to do, I'll put my brush straight on the rooftop and then I'll pull down. I load up, put it on there, and then pull down. So I'm keeping my brush in alignment with the angle of the roof, but I can still pull down straight with the rest of my brush strokes. So that's just a little tidbit there. Instead of actually, cruising along the sides of the roof, this is a good practice to keep our brush strokes nice and straight. And obviously at any time you can go around the sides of the canvas if you're using a canvas. If you're using paper or a board, you don't have to worry about it, so it's all good. And we're going to fill up this whole barn brown. This nostalgic old barn. And same with this side of the roof over here, okay? Grab a little paint, go straight on the line that you made and pull down. Now, we don't want this paint to be extra gloopy, so if you need to kind of push it around a little bit, even if it's picking up some of the green in the background, that's okay. Just be careful when you're pushing the paint around on your roof lines. You don't want to go shooting off the top of your roof, which is 100% possible, but try not to. And then you can also add a little bit of water to your brush and then add that to your brown paint. And that'll kind of loosen it up a little bit and help you push around the paint as well. But we want a good layer on there. Any spots where I see, this is kind of a personal preference. Sometimes when you don't do full brush strokes and you stop like halfway up your barn or in any kind of painting, you'll get some like little brush marks like that. And that's why it's nice to kind of swoop up, kind of move the paint up and down so that you can get rid of those little pesky brush stroke marks. There. And there we go. Now I'm just gonna have to look at this from the front here. I'm over to the side, so sometimes my lines aren't super straight. And I'm still just using the very side of my brush. So the walls, I'll put my brush on the side and make sure they're nice and straight. And then the rest of it, I'm just using my big fat wide part of my brush straight on there. And voila! Is that what they drink, Jim? Mead? I was unsure of this, but that's good to know. I'll stick to whiskey, but you know, I'll keep mead in mind for next time I'm painting a barn. Or erecting a barn, I shall say. How's that going for everybody? Are you guys is your barn super fat or super tall and skinny or short and fat? What happened? What happened to your barn? We're going to let that dry. I'm kind of feeling maybe I could even make it a little bit wider now that I'm giving it a second look. So if that's something that you're interested in, what I would do is I could just pull my roof down a little further and just add some extra space on the side here. So I'm going to fatten her up a little bit. Pulling some of that paint off, but that's okay. And straight down, shoosh if you need to. And widen it up. All right. Now, once we have our barn on there, we're going to make some trees kind of cruising up the side while we let our barn have a little bit of time to dry. It probably won't dry by the time we're done our trees, but that's perfect actually. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my long skinny brush. I have this long skinny liner brush here. And I'm going to add a little bit of water into my brown paint just to loosen it up a little bit. So whenever I use my long skinny brush, I often add water into my paint because when it's a little bit liquidy on my brush, it tends to last a little longer, and I end up being able to make some really nice long sticks and branches and trunks. So a couple little dips in my water. I really load up my brush. Now I don't want it to drip down my canvas. So just in case, I just kind of squeegee off some of that excess water. So it's nice and full, and I squeegee it off. So I have this nice long brush full of brown paint. Okay. And starting at the bottom over here, I'm going to make 2 sets of trees, or maybe one that attaches to another. And I just start at the bottom, and I gently, really gently, just bring my brush up, and I try and make it go as long as possible. I just keep twisting and pulling, and I did the good. So generally I push a little harder at the bottom, but as I'm moving up, I just let my brush gently scribble, squiggle, do its thing, and then I'll pop it off the top. I'm just using the very, very tip of my brush. So when I have this nice long brush full of paint, even though it's a little thicker down here, as I move up the canvas, I'm just using the very tip, but all of that paint that's in my brush is kind of filtering down to the point. So it allows me to go a little longer and still keep my brush a little skinny as I create some branches. And we are going to fill this in with branches, and it doesn't really matter where they go. A lot of it's going to get covered up, but we put quite a few branches on here just because it's so nice when you're putting nice leaves and stuff on top of them. When you can see those little sticks kind of poking through the background, it's really cool. It just gives it a really nice perspective. So, there we go. You know, we're just gonna add as many sticks as you can. They can go as far over, or just make your own little trees. Is this a happy tree? I think so. I think so. You can even make another tree right here. I often find it very therapeutic to shoosh while I'm making trees and branches. So feel free to shoosh. And maybe just another guy up here. And that's all. So there's quite a few branches on there, and a lot of this is all going to get filled in with like yellow and all the good things. But it's nice to have some beautiful branches poking through. And this is when I'm going to add some red onto my palette. So I've added my red over here, and I'm going to use a little mixture of red and brown and white, and we're going to start to create our barn board look. So once you get those branches on there, give your brush another rinse. Your big brush, I should say. Your big fat Fatty McFatterson brush. So I got that right here. All right. Big fat Fatty McFatterson brush. Do 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 do. I should put two little eyes on him there. He could have his own show. Oh, totally. Okay. So let's make some barn board action, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to alternate our colors, mostly red with little dips of white and little dips of brown. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I have cleaned my brush and I gave it another flatten. So I just take my fingers and kind of smoosh my brush. All right. I'm going to take a big scoop of red to start, and I'm going to go up and down right over top of my brown in a few different spots. And then I'll start to take like a little corner of white, just a little corner, and I'll swoop it in with it. And we're still going to use that same up and down motion, okay? And it's good if you start picking up some of the brown in the background. But if you're not, if the brown's too dry, you can always take a little scoop of brown as well and mix the brown in there. And then same for up at the top, guys. You want to follow that roof line and then pull down. So put your brush straight on the canvas, right along this line, and shoot, pull right down. All right. And then I'll swoop in a little bit of white every once in a while and make it nice and streaky. It's streaky. I streak it to the east. I streak it to the west. I streak it on the bonbons that I like best. It's streaky. Streaky. And then you can add a little bit of brown in there too sometimes. So it just continues to give it that rustic look. Rusty. Now, we're laying this red on pretty good here, okay? It's okay but try and keep it up and down. So swooping up from the bottom really helps keep that alignment, and then taking that brush and cruising down and into the barn also helps. Ooh. Out of the lines. All right. So just a little bit at a time. The more you bring your brush up and down, the more contrast you're going to get. And then it takes down the white lines too. We really want the white to end up looking a little pink. We don't want it to be really, really stark. It's okay if it's a little stark in some places, but we don't want it to be the main color. We still want the red to be the main color. We just really want to see that streak contrast, okay? So once that's on there, I'll go in and I'll add a little extra brown in certain places just to keep that old look. If your brown was on really thick in the first place, it's probably just poking through the background anyways. And there we go. We got barn board, friends. Beautiful, beautiful barn board. And I am just gonna bring my light a little closer here. I think it looks a little dark. So let's see if I can brighten that up a little bit. Okay. All right. So this is coming along famously. Let me know how yours is going. And then make sure you get enough yellow on your palette. Make sure you still have some white on there too. And then also, we're going to use just a tiny, tiny little bit of orange as well. All right. So, this is what I've done on my palette here. I put a tiny little bit of orange. I add a little yellow. I have just a little bit of extra brown on here. You could probably still use the red if you wanted to in your tree, but that's going to be up to you. And as we let this dry a little bit, we're going to start building the areas in our tree. Now, we are going to have a few places where the tree wants to go over the barn, but we're just going to wait to touch the barn until it's a little bit more dry than it is right now. So starting with my yellow, I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow and white together. So just going to take a scoop of yellow here. I'm going to bring it over to my white and just mix it in together to really lighten my yellow. So it's a really, really light yellow color. Okay. And then I'm just going to take my big old brush and I'm just going to start tapping it on my tree and creating space for my leaves. So this is going to kind of be my base coat for my leaves here. And I put the white in it to start because white is such a nice, solid, opaque color that it helps cover up some of the branches. And what I'm doing is just putting little tufts of leaves in the area here. And please notice, I'm filling in all the space in between my branches. I'm not going in and deciding to, put tiny little leaves on each branch. No, we're filling in big spaces of where leaves live in big areas on this tree, okay? And this is all going to get filled in here. Now, I still want to keep some of those branches poking through, so I'm a little bit sporadic about where I place my stuff, but basically I'm just taking my big brush and I'm pushing it on my canvas and just letting my brush do the work. Make little spaces. And you can get pretty blocky with it too if you want. So all the way down there. And we're going to bring a few of these little branches over across our barn, but for now we're just going to keep it chill. And once I have that white on there, I'm going to go back into my straight yellow, and I can start to add a little bit of yellow on top. Now, if it's still too wet, it's not going to work that good, but what we want to do is really get a nice vibrant yellow color. So you might have to wait until our next round. And I still have a little bit of red on my brush because it obviously didn't rinse it good enough. And I'm okay with that. It's kind of popping into my into my leaf area, and I like it. I like having a little bit of red randomly poke through. And that's when I'm also going to take little bits of orange. I just take a little bit, little tiny corners of orange, and just tap them in there as well. Just to offset the color at the tops of my trees up here. Just a little bit. This tree is going to happen in a few layers, so don't fret if it's not looking super solid at first. It's kind of it's the way it works. That's the way she rolls, friends. Yeah, I think that's good for now. All right. So my barn is not even close to being dry, but that's okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a little bit of white and we're going to make our outlines. And yes, because the barn is wet, it's probably still going to pick up some of that background color, and that is okay. All right. I personally like to make my roof lines with my long skinny brush. So I'm going to take my white, my long skinny brush in my white, and I'm going to pull it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Some hair on there. And I'm going to try and make as straight a line as possible, okay? So I usually use my pinky finger to keep my hand a little solid. I'm going to start at the top of my roof, and I'm going to pull down. And slow and steady, I'm just going to make, I'm going to say it's probably about a 1/4 of an inch line on the top of my roof. All right. Whew. I just got lost in that line there. How about you? Isn't that the best about painting? Oh, I just love getting lost in my paintings. It's really, really good. It's really food for the soul. Chicken soup for the soul. And then I'm also going to do the other side too. So however you need to do this, I find it very difficult going this way. So I'm going to pull up. If you need to shift your canvas around, turn it, twist it, however it makes you, just make sure that you're comfortable doing this whenever you're making any kind of detail or straight lines. It's important that you're comfortable while you're doing it. So if you need to, twist your canvas upside down to make the line, it's all gonna be good. Just whatever makes it easy for you to keep it as straight as possible. And not perfectly straight, okay? We're not going for perfect here. We're just going for done. And we're just doing the best job that we possibly can. All right? So I have a nice white line on my top of my barn there. You hear the kids? Like your kids, Heather, or my kids? Yeah, there's kids littering my neighborhood right now, and my kid. So they have infiltrated the homestead. All right. So I'm giving my brush a good rinse. And what I'm going to do next, it's the same as doing the roof, okay? So using my long skinny brush, I'm going to create a door down here. And same thing, it's going to pick up some of that red, and that's okay. So I'm just going to load it up with some white and decide where my door is going to live. I'm going to start with this line, the cross line, and that's going to tell me how big my door is going to be. So trying to keep it fairly centered. I'm just going to Yeah, good. Maybe a little bit further. Yeah. I'm on an angle over here, so I don't even know. I think that looks pretty good. All right. Yeah. Oh, you can hear mine. Okay. Cool. And then let's try and keep it straight, friends. Okay. I'm so awkward right now. It's pretty easy to hear my kid because she never stops talking ever. And then the other side. Oh my goodness, I'm so awkward right now. I'm gonna try and pull up and get to the top of this right now. Oh, a little dip. There. So any spots where the white might have picked up some of the red, I just take a little extra white and I'm just gonna cruise right back over it. And it's okay if it has a little bit of red swooped in there. And then those beautiful barn doors are going to have a big old X in the middle. So I'm going to crisscross. One way. And then I'm going to crisscross. The other way. And I'm just, if you can do it, if you're not in my awkward position here, you can totally try and keep it as the same width while you're doing this, okay? Trying so hard to keep it straight. Oh, there we go. Barn door. Heather, are you laughing because my kid never stops talking? It's legit. She's a chatty McChatterson. And then last week, one of our members, Rachel, said, "Oh, I wonder where she gets that from." I know I talk a lot on camera, but if I'm I could spend literal hours alone by myself not talking. So, and that's where the painting comes in. I rarely even listen to music. I just like to sit with my own thoughts for many, many hours. And then, but when I'm with people, I can get pretty chatty. Oh, that's cool, Heather. It's nice when, I really hope I can paint with Story one day. I do paint with her now, but in a older kind of way where she listens and Yep. Gotta make the noises to keep it nice and straight. Okay, so I'm also going to put a little hole for a window up here as well. So I'm going to try and keep it in the center. And just like the door, I'm going to make a rectangle. So I'm just going to make a little line at the top. And I'm reapplying paint every time every time I make a line, I put a little extra paint on there. Just because we're dealing with wet paint on the bottom, it's just nice to have a little bit of extra paint on your paintbrush so that it actually goes right over top. You can kind of lay it on top of that other paint. There we go. Got a nice little barn window up here. Another thing you could do, you could put like a barn stamp up here if you wanted to give it a little bit more detail. He wants to swear when he paints. Fair enough. Yeah, I've heard that before. And I've heard lots of swearing during my parties. Not anymore because they're virtual, but, you know, it's going to be like that time back when I was doing my paintings. When I was used to see people, I used to swear when we used to do our paint parties back in the day. Feels like it's been so long. Oh my goodness. Okay. So look at that. We got a barn, friends. How exciting. I love it. We're barning hard here. Now, we just have one more detail to put into our barn before we're done with it. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to take mostly brown and little bits of white with my long skinny brush, and I'm just going to put a few extra lines in there to make it look like there's some boards in my wood. So really, really lightly, I'm just going to make little lines. You might not even be able to see these very well. I really hope you can, but just a few little extra whatnots. And then every once in a while, I'll just kind of jot across and make like a little board in the wood. It's kind of like a little H. You can do it with white too. Don't overdo it. You don't have to because your barn's already streaky. So, but this just gives it a little extra steeze, and that little H cross there really helps people know that the barn board is legit. It's legitimately bored. Bored out of your skull. Okay. Here we go. All right. Barney McBarnerson is complete. Maybe one more down here. Me. Honestly, you can put as many of those as you want. You don't need a whole lot. I guess if your barn's not super duper streaky, then it's a good idea to put a few extras in there, but all good. All right. Fun. Okay. So we're getting there, friends. So now that all of our details are on our barn, we can start to cruise our leaves into our barn just a little bit, just a few little areas where the leaves kind of cross over into the barn area. So I'm just going to take my big brush and I'm just going to tap a little further into some of these spots. And yes, it's going to pick up some of the red, and that's okay. Try and not take over too much red, but it's kind of nice to have it in there. And then once I do that, then I'm going to start right at the top with some fresh yellow, and I'm going to really make that yellow pop. And it just makes so many more layers inside your leaf area. Starts to really get some nice dimension in there. Let's bring it in here too. And I'm just kind of laying this yellow right on top. Scraping the rest off my palette here. Might need a little bit more, but there we go. Now, once we put our little grassy pieces on there, you might want to give these guys here a little bit of extra loving, but for now, all good. So, the last step of this, we need to put a little bit of grass down at the bottom. And we're going to use all of the colors. All of them. No roof? What do you mean? There is a roof. We put a roof right here. Me. Did you miss the roof, Rosalie? So, the roof just is white. So we just put 2 white lines here. If you want to get really technical, you could take a little bit of brown and just cruise along the bottom of your roof to give it a little extra pop. You could take your brush and kind of give it a little extra brown pop, but it's not really necessary, so you don't really need that, okay? This barn is straight on, so it's not like a 3-dimensional barn in any way. It's very 2D. Tutti frutti, oh Rudy. So like I said, we're going to use all the colors in our grass down here. And since grass is green, I'm just going to start with green. Okay? So I have my long skinny brush. I put a little water in it. Your green's been sitting there for a while, so it might need to get loosened up a little bit. To the left. You might not be able to see it, Rosalie, but yeah, the roof is there. I have white on both sides. Okay? So I'm just loading up my long skinny brush. And right at the bottom, I'm just going to start to sprig up some little pieces of grass. And at first, it might seem a little bit monotonous, but if you start to get pretty quick about it, you can do it pretty fast here. So I'm just being really, really light with my brush, and I'm making tiny little blades of grass down at the bottom. And I'm being really, really light about it. So if you need to, you can give your brush a little twist, make sure there's a nice point on the end, and just start flicking up and back and forth and up, crisscross. And we're just going to fill this whole thing in with grass. And like I said, we're going to be using all the colors. So, here we go. We're going to do 1 layer at a time. All right. Then I will grab a little bit of white and do the same thing. I'm going to start over here and just keep. So I go one way, then I go the other way, just really, really lightly. I'm just using the very tippy end of my brush. Fun. And if you get real brave, you can make some longer pieces of grass if you want. Make them real tall, or just keep them short. This barn hasn't been tended to in a while, so it's all nice and weedy and grassy down here. Once I do that, I'm gonna grab some yellow. Let's grab a little yellow. And then put some yellow in there. Now, once it starts to get filled up, you don't have to do a full round of color the whole time. It can just be in a few different spots. And I'm also going to do some teal or turquoise. So I got some turquoise here. And then shoop, 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 wow, wow, wow. Shoop, 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 wow, wow, wow. All right. So we're just filling up this whole bottom area. Oh, hi, Kelly. That's really cute. Love watching you. Oh, thanks. Thanks for watching. Should give it a shot-a-rooski later. Yeah, I think this would be my last color. You can put some brown grass in there too. But it seems like it's getting pretty full here, so let's just fill it up, 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 up. There we go. Heck, why not put some brown in there too? I'm going to take a little brown, put a few little brown sprigs. Going down with the brown. There we go. And once all of your grass is on there, you can make little points of magical pollen or flowers or whatever you want it to be. And what I mean by that is I'm just going to take the wooden end of my brush and I'm going to dip it in random colors and I'm just going to make little dots all in this area here. Now I'm going to keep the red over to, concentrated over on this side because the red's not going to show up in the barn very well. And they can even float off. You can make, it's just like a little bit of barnyard magic. And one color at a time. Some green. Some of the better colors to use for the little magical pollen is orange because we didn't make orange grass. So orange shows up really well. Gives it a little extra nice color in there. And these could be whatever you want. I just love making, whenever there's like little colorful dots, I just think of it as being magical pollen. If I were sitting next to this barn, I would most likely be sneezing. But that's okay. And make sure you use some white too. White is really nice. And white really shows up in the barn too. And it can be big or small. You can make them kind of float off into your little tree up here. Maybe a gust of wind blew them up. All right, getting there. And you can put on as many colors as you want. You can grab the teal even. You can keep it chill and just use a couple colors or grab all the colors and do all the coloring. So from this point in my painting, I just like to take an assessment. So, what needs to be done now? I have all my things. I'm going to take a little extra yellow and kind of plop it on there. Really just like lay it on top so that it doesn't pick up any of the red. And then, here we go. You could add extra colors into your tree. You could add some reds into your tree if you wanted to. You can give some extra barn board action into your barn. What else could we do? Obviously, if you wanted to add a little bit of a squirrel or some sort of woodland creature into your thing, maybe you could even do like one of those little weather vanes on top up here. That would be sweet. That would be really, really sweet, actually. So many little things that you could do. You know, you fix up your little lines and add more goopiness into your tree so that's nice and textured. That's something that you can do as well. And then the very last thing is you just gotta sign it up. And your barn is complete, my friend. So let me know how that goes. Yep, squirrel. Exactly. So how did it go, guys? Tell me the honest truth. How do you feel about your barns today? Do they look like barns? Hey? You know, it's funny. They all look relatively the same, but they're always a little bit different. So isn't that perfect? All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this process. For anybody who didn't get to paint with us, I'll be uploading this to my YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then you'll get notified when new paintings come up. Tree? What do you mean tree? No problem, Nancy. Thank you. It looks like a barn. Okay. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad it looks like a barn. I can't wait to see all of your fun little details that I did not put in there. And make sure you guys share it. Make sure you go into the Julie's Paint Party public group and share it in there. Or just share it on my page or send me a picture via personal message. That would be really awesome. And I just want to sincerely thank you for showing up tonight, guys. It really is the best when we can paint together. I truly appreciate your presence here, and I hope you can join me. So don't forget, we have our pumpkin party on Friday. You do need to sign up for that one, so go to my events page and check out that. I'm pretty sure you can buy tickets straight off Facebook. And then what's next? Oh yeah, and then we have our free parties next week too, so just make sure you keep up on it. And the best possible thing you could do for me, guys, is just share. So I just really appreciate you being here. Share the events on your own page, and that is all. So I'm sending love. I'm sorry your barn's not so good. Oh, yours like, oh, is it a tree? You know what? I promise it probably looks like a tree. I can't wait to see yours, Heather. Okay? I'll see you guys later. Friday, hopefully. Okay? Bye, friends.